Hi guys, I just wanted to wish Merry Christmas to anyone celebrating, and I also wanted to wish Happy Birthday to me. It's my birthday today. But yeah, let's move on to, well, it's the last video of the year, so it's the puzzle brand reviews of all the puzzle brands I did in 2023. There are some new brands that I've never tried before, there are some old brands that stayed where they were, there are some old brands that jumped up in the category, and there's also a brand that jumped down in the category. So it's gonna be an interesting video, I think. And also I got a comment under the last year's brand review video if I can actually do like a close-up of the pieces from different brands. So I'm gonna make sure to include this in this time so you can see the actual comparison between different brands. So unfortunately I'm not gonna be able to do that for every brand in this video because I keep exchanging puzzles, so there is a lot of puzzles that I don't have anymore. But all the brands that I've still got, I'm gonna make sure to compare pieces side to side, so you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, let's just start with the bad brands. There is only one puzzle brand that ended up on the bad brands list this year, and it's Spielspaß. And the reason why I put it there, I've only done one of their puzzles and it was a 3D puzzle, so maybe that's not like a legit, you know, brand comparison, because 3D puzzles are different to like normal puzzles. The entire puzzle basically only had like ribbon grip cut pieces, and the top section, like I was doing that sky for about 2 hours and I didn't do it right. Like I kept pressing the pieces in, there was a lot of misfits, and to this day I do not know how to put it together, and I literally gifted that puzzle away. I didn't even swap it. So now we can move on to all right brands. So brands that I usually put on that list are basically brands that are good brands technically, but they have something that's off, either like bad cut, bad picture, or like misfits, but the puzzles are still solvable. What I put into bad brands is basically unsolvable puzzles. So all the brands on this list are basically still good brands, it's just they're lacking one of the three things. So let's just start with the first one. The first brand is Talking Tables. I've done their festival puzzle, and yeah, I don't remember that much of it because it was quite a long time ago. I remember it was quite easy to put together, but the quality wasn't great. Like, I don't know how many owners it had previously, so I can't completely blame the brand, but the pieces were like peeling off, and you know, it's like they were quite badly damaged when I got the puzzle. So in that sense, it's a bit difficult to blame the brand because I have no idea what the puzzle has gone through, but it was my only experience, so I can only base it off of that. If I ever get a new puzzle from their brand, obviously it's gonna go into the next year's review, and then I can give another honest opinion of the puzzle that I've got. The next puzzle brand is Museum of Fine Arts Boston. So there was also just one puzzle that I got from them, and it was the Circus Lover one. That puzzle is very old, so it's very difficult to like judge the quality based on how old the puzzle is, so I have no idea how their puzzles are today. So I didn't have any misfits, but the puzzle was quite thin and it was quite glossy as well, which didn't help with the puzzling. Up next is a puzzle brand called Ridley Games, and I actually don't own any of their puzzles, but when we were in Spain, one friend of mine brought it and we did it at a hotel. It was called Pet Pride, and it's actually a really, really good concept because you have two of the same puzzles, the same size puzzle, it's got different picture, and then you only have one final piece. So you basically go head to head, and then whoever finishes the puzzle first, they're allowed to take the last piece. And it was really nice. So one thing that put this puzzle on this list is basically because the final piece was printed double-sided. So then one entire puzzle was basically printed on the back side, so it would match when you put the final piece in. It was still easy to do it, there was no misfits, but it was just when you were doing the other puzzle that was on the back side, you could see that it was cut from basically the bottom because it was like quite sharp edges. Other than that, I really like the puzzle and I want to add some in my collection, but not as part of like my puzzle collection, but rather as my like board game collection, because I think it's a really good thing to do with your friends. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to look into the other puzzles that they've got. So the next brand that I'm gonna talk about is the one that basically went from fantastic brand last year to basically an alright brand this year. So basically what happened with this brand, I've only done one of their puzzles last year, and it was an old puzzle. It was quite a high piece count. I don't remember, it was was it 1,500 pieces? I think it was either 1,000 or 1,500 pieces. But this year I've basically done all of the 500 piece puzzles, and they were all like newer puzzles. So I'm not completely sure if what bothers me is related to the size of the puzzle, or it's actually connected to the fact that the other one was old. But I absolutely hated the cuts. I cannot tell you, it was basically all ribbon grit cut pieces, and it wasn't that easy to distinguish the difference between them. And also there was like some random pieces that had like, they didn't interlock with each other, so they were like just sit on top of each other or like next to each other. And that, yeah, I don't like that with puzzles that much, because I don't know, sometimes you find some pieces, you put them together and they're not actually together. Those were actually the only pieces that you knew that were going together. Everything else was just like good luck figuring it out. So I've done quite a few of their puzzles, and I speed ran all of them, so that doesn't help, because when you're speed running a puzzle, the quality is even more important, because you can just see you're getting stuck. But yeah, let me tell you the brand now. I've already told you everything, I just didn't mention the brand. It's basically Educa, which is really disappointing, because the first, last year, I had really good experience with Educa, and I was really, every time I got an Educa puzzle, I was really looking forward to it, because in my mind, the quality was really good. And then I started to put them together, and I'm just like, no more. Like, I would not go into the shop and buy Educa. If I just think about doing large account puzzles from Educa, it just completely puts me off. If the cut is the same, I do not want to go near it. I know it sounds really bad, but like, if I really like the picture and I wanted it on the wall, then I would suffer through the puzzle, but otherwise, like, I'm not buying any Educa puzzles. The next brand is the one that I cannot get in Slovenia, so I bought it when I was in Spain, and it's called Springbok. So I know that a lot of people might disagree with me here. Don't get me wrong, I really liked the puzzle. I had no misfits, the picture was really good, the cut was good, everything was fine. It's just, well, the cut wasn't that good. It was good in a sense that didn't have misfits, but the cut was quite bad actually. Like, on the edges, there was like leftover from, the cutting machine, and like pieces were, some of them still connected and like weren't cut properly, so I literally had to rip them apart. So in that sense, I wouldn't place it as a good brand, but it was still, an assembly was quite easy. Like, I wasn't suffering when doing the puzzle, even though it was a very difficult picture. So what bothers me most is when I've got misfits and I don't actually know where the piece fits. That's like my worst nightmare, and that's why I would never buy Educa again. With Springbok, is like, there's just something that I wanted to tell you. In case you buy a puzzle and you're like, oh my god, I'm getting such a great puzzle, just to be aware, is basically, that's all there is. But it was still a very enjoyable assembly. The next brand on the list is called Top, and I'm not sure that's like a puzzle brand, but I think it's more like a board game brand, and it's the advent calendar that you have been seeing. I literally did the last day yesterday, so it's all done now. But the puzzle is like, it's really good. I didn't look at it as like, oh, this is a puzzle and it needs to be great quality, because I was more looking for like, oh, this is like a fun escape advent calendar. And it was. But when I was putting the puzzles together, on some days, the quality was lacking a little bit. Like, majority of the days were okay, but there were a few days that actually, like, the pieces were either bent or like the top was coming off. I think it's just something that got damaged when it was being packed, so it's not something that I would worry about too much, because you can't just, it's not easily damageable, if you know what I mean. It's not like you're gonna pick a puzzle and everything is just gonna start falling off, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. I just wanted to give you a heads up in case you decided to buy one of them, so you know, maybe it might happen to you too. Or I might just be the lucky one, like with the missing piece with Springbok, who knows. But yeah, let's move on to the good brands list. So the first brand on the list is Real Island Design, and I've done one of their puzzles when I was at a competition in Spain. The one thing that made this puzzle quite difficult for me is there was like a repetitive pattern around the edges, and sometimes I wasn't completely sure where some of the pieces fit. I know if you have like the same pattern on both sides, obviously it's going to be a bit difficult to know where something goes. That's why I didn't want to blame the brand for not knowing where the pieces go, because the rest of the puzzle, where it wasn't repetitive pattern, it was very easy to know what goes together. So the next brand is the one that was on the average list last year, which means that it was basically bumped up one category, and the brand is called Be Puzzled. So last year I've done the Glenmore Haunting one, and I remember it had the exactly same shape, like all the pieces, they were different shapes, but when you found one shape, all of the shapes were basically the same. And it was really difficult to differentiate what goes where, and yeah, it was just not an enjoyable puzzle, let's just say that. And the one that I've done this year is basically a brand new puzzle that I bought when I was in New York. It was the Orient Express, and it was so much easier and better to put it together than the Glenmore Haunting one. So well done, Be Puzzled, for improving your quality. I really enjoyed the puzzle. I had no misfits, the quality was good, the print was good, so yeah, I really enjoyed that. The next one on the list is a wooden puzzle company, and it's called Wood Best. So I haven't done that many wooden puzzles so far, but everything that I've done was good quality. Even though I basically had the puzzle that only had 2 shapes, but it was really easy to still know what goes together, which is really good because the print was obvious enough for me to know where everything goes. So I've done one of the puzzles. I've still got Yin Yang at home that I still have to do because now I've moved, and I told you that I'm planning to display it somewhere because I really like it. I just have to think of where I'm gonna put it now, but I cannot wait to put it together. The next brand on the list is Galison. So you've probably seen it if you watch Battle of the YouTube Puzzlers, but that puzzle, oh my god. It's really difficult to like judge a puzzle brand based on one puzzle, which is what I normally do because I don't really have access to a lot of extravagant brands. But this puzzle was insanity. Like, I loved it. I didn't have misfits. The print was good. What I didn't like about it was the shine. And I remember that some pieces were still stuck together, so it was a bit difficult to separate them. But other than that, I absolutely loved it. I loved how it was like completed as well. It looked so pretty, but it was such a difficult puzzle. Like, what were we thinking? Honestly, never mind, the next battle is gonna have an easy puzzle, so don't you worry about it. And I cannot wait for you to see it because I think everyone's gonna just be like, oh my god, I'm buying this puzzle. Am I giving you too much information now? I'm gonna stop. Let's move on to the next brand. So the next brand is Prime 3D, and I've actually done quite a few of their puzzles because they're easily accessible in Slovenia. And at the competition that I've been to in Slovenia, we had Prime 3D puzzle as well. I don't know if they actually do any 500 piece puzzles because I've only done like 1,000 pieces from them, or the 500 pieces were all 3D. I don't know if I missed them or maybe they just don't sell them, but yeah. So one thing with their brand is I really like it. I never have any misfits with them. Obviously 3D puzzles are definitely different to like normal puzzles because it's plastic on cardboard, so you always have to press them, and obviously the reflection. But then with the other 2 puzzles that I've done, they weren't 3D. The only thing that like bothers me a little bit is it's got a bit of a gloss finish, but that's quite common with quite a few brands. It's not something that I enjoy in a puzzle, but it doesn't put me off of putting the puzzles together. It's just you need to be like maybe just puzzling more during the day as opposed to like when the lights are on. The next puzzle brand is called Hi Puzzle, and I've done 2 of that. Well, technically I haven't done 2 of their puzzles. One is still in the making. Is the 2,000 piece puzzle Red Dawn. If anyone remembers, I'm gonna show you what an update is today so you can see the progress. But this puzzle has been out for about, I don't even know, 2.5 months now because I had the 3,000 pieces that I had to put together. I'm coming up to 4,000 pieces and I said, okay, that's enough. You have to finish this puzzle before you open the 4,000 pieces because I cannot have 2 large puzzles out at the same time because my kitchen, I have no use for it anymore. Like, the entire kitchen is basically just puzzles, so I cannot do that to myself. That's why I'm really rushing this puzzle now because I want to finish it in the next 2 weeks or so max. So yeah, I'm really doing my best with it. And the other one that I did was actually the circus one, and that one was difficult. From what I remember, it mostly had like ribbon grit cut pieces. I didn't get any misfits or stuff because there was a bit of difference like between the textures and stuff. You could see the lines, but yeah, it was a difficult puzzle. I would much prefer if they had like all random shapes. They did have them, but there was so little of them that it didn't really help that much. The next brand is the one that I actually have quite a few experiences with because I've done quite a few puzzles last year and this year, and it's called Treffle. I really like Treffle because they have really affordable puzzles. They've got amazing pictures, and I never have any problems with like quality or like Misfits or anything like that. So I really enjoy putting their puzzles together. So in a sense, I would say that Trefl might be like my favorite brand in terms of like how affordable and how good the quality is combined, if you know what I mean. Obviously, I'm gonna have the list of great brands, but they're also quite a lot more pricey. So if you're always trying to buy new puzzles, for me Trefl is like the ideal brand. I've never tried Trefl Prime though. My 9,000 piece puzzle that I've got is Trefl Prime, so I'm gonna let you know about that quality as well, because I think they're slightly pricier, so I think the quality is a bit better in that sense as well. Up next is Piatnik, which is the one that I've tried for the first time, and I've only done one of their puzzles, but I absolutely enjoyed it. It was the classic Italians puzzle and it was so easy to put together. I did it in sections, which obviously made it a little bit more difficult, but nonetheless I had no misfits. The print was really good, the cut was really good, so nothing bad to say about the brand. The next brand is also the one that I cannot get in Slovenia. It was basically gifted to me from the States, and it's called Puzzle Twist. I've only done one of the puzzles so far. It was the 500 piece Squirrels Live, and it was the collection of Something's Amiss, which I really liked because the picture didn't match the finished puzzle. And I really like those twists because it just makes the puzzle a little bit more like difficult and mysterious at the same time. So I really enjoyed like those little challenges. So with this puzzle, it's like I had no misfits, the cut was really good. I wasn't used to it because I think from what I've seen so far, American brands has quite different cuts to what I'm used to with, like, you know, the ones that we can get in Slovenia. The one thing that really shocked me when I opened the box is the pieces was quite a lot bigger. So it was a 500 piece puzzle, but it was, when it was finished, it was much larger than that. I definitely didn't mind it. I did speedrun this puzzle though, which did make it a bit more difficult because I was lacking space on my table, but I've really enjoyed the assembly. I had no misfits, the cut was really good, the print was really good. So overall it was a really enjoyable brand, and I'm just wondering what size the pieces are gonna be with the 1,000 piece puzzles. So I cannot wait to get to them. The next brand on the list is also a new brand. It's called Pools Entertainment, and even though I haven't done their puzzle this year, I did it last year, but I've done it after the brand reviews video. That's why it wasn't included in the last year's brand review video, but it was actually the most difficult puzzles that I've done. Well, I've done Crick Puzzle now, so I'm not sure if that... No, it was still the most difficult puzzle. It took me like 19 hours and it was the 1,000 piece puzzle. It was, oh my god, insanity. But nonetheless, you cannot count the picture and the brand quality. You cannot put that together because the picture can be really difficult, and it's still, if the quality is good, you're gonna be able to solve it no matter what. The problem is when the quality is bad. Even though it was the most difficult puzzles I've ever done, and I actually have Puzzle 2 at home that I still have to do. That's gonna come next year. Oh my god, I have to mentally prepare for that, honestly. But yeah, so that puzzle still needs to be done. But what I wanted to say is, even though the picture was really difficult, the brand was still so good that it was doable, if you know what I mean. Because if the brand is bad and the picture is bad, there is no way that you're gonna manage to get the picture together. Like the same with Spielspaß that I said, like to this day, I do not know how to put the sky together because there is just too many misfits. So in that sense, this brand is really good. It's just the picture was really difficult. I think Puzzle 2 is actually gonna be easier. So after I do the Puzzle 2, let's see if I've got the courage to do Puzzle 3. But honestly, I think Puzzle, just, you know, the original one is the hardest out of the three. So we'll see how it goes. The next new brand on the list is called Jumbo, and I've done their wash jig. So I've really enjoyed it. Obviously the picture is like, even if you don't have it, does not help at all. You do have hints that I forgot to use though. That's on me, not blaming the brand. But it was really enjoyable to put it together. I was basically putting it together without knowing the picture, and it was still a very enjoyable, I'm not gonna say easy assembly, but I had no misfits, the cut was good, and I absolutely enjoyed it. And I actually have quite a few more wash jigs at home, and I also have Jan van Hassen. I think they are Jumbo as well. So yeah, I've got quite a few more Jumbo puzzles to do still. So let's wrap the good brands list with the last brand, and it's called Remarks. So that's also a new brand that I've tried for the first time, and I bought that puzzle when I was in New York. So I absolutely love that. I only done one of their puzzles, but oh my god, I think this puzzle still holds my fastest 1,000-piece puzzle record. It took me like 2 hours and 30 minutes, something like that. It was insane, honestly, and I wasn't even trying to speedrun it. I was just marking my times down as I was recording it, and I was just so shocked when it was done. I'm like, what? But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really love the cut. I really like the picture. No misfits. Absolutely love the brand. I think it's time to move to the fantastic brands of this year. The brands that end up on this list are basically the ones that I can easily guarantee you that if you buy them, you're gonna have good quality. I basically swear by them. I don't know what else to say. Also, what helps with that is that I have a lot of access to those puzzles, so I can keep doing them. That's why I can, you know, almost like guarantee good quality, because with a lot of brands in the video, I've only done 1 or like 2 of their puzzles, and it's really difficult to, you know, point the quality based off of this one puzzle, because you don't know, maybe it's an old puzzle, maybe it was just like a manufacturing thing, you know, so it's really difficult. But with those 3 brands that I'm gonna present you next, they're basically the one that I have done many of their puzzles and I've never been disappointed in them. So the first brand on the list is gonna be Clementoni, and I've done 9 of their puzzles this year, and I've got quite a few more in my collection still. So last year this was one of the fantastic brands. This year it stays with the fantastic brands. The quality did not change, so absolutely love them. So the next brand I'm gonna talk about is basically the one that was on the good brands list last year, and it was basically bumped up. And the reason for that is because last year I've only done 1 of their puzzles, so I couldn't really guarantee that the brand is fantastic until I do more of their puzzles. So this year I've done 3, which I know is not a great amount of puzzles, but it's enough for me to know, because I was never disappointed with the quality. So it's enough for me to say that I absolutely, you know, swear by the brand. So the brand that I'm talking about is Schmidt Puzzles, and those are the ones that I actually keep in my main collection. They're always gonna be with me, they're not going anywhere. But yeah, nevertheless, I absolutely love the brands. I've never had any problems with, you know, quality misfits or anything like that. And now, moving on to the last brand. Any guesses what it might be? What is the puzzle brand that I haven't mentioned yet? Let me guess. Oh, it's Ravensburger, of course. Yeah. So last year, oh yeah, that's actually a new brand, because last year I had Ravensburger on my list, and this year I've got Ravensburger. Not just kidding. Sorry, I've got really bad jokes. But anyway, I counted how many of their puzzles I've done, and it's over 50 only this year. In total, so far, I think I've done like 86 puzzles, and more than 50 is Ravensburger. I'm just like, insanity. Very easy access. Obviously, I went to the competition, and the competition itself, I had like, I don't know, 15 puzzles just in that 1 week. I don't even know what to say about the brand, because I think everyone knows it's like worldwide and the brand is really good and the quality is really good. So never any problems with misfits. And I did do quite a lot of old puzzles. Like, I've got 3 categories for them, because I keep exchanging puzzles, because it's quite expensive to keep buying new ones. But I basically got ancient Ravensburger puzzles, then I've got old Ravensburger puzzles, and then I've got new Ravensburger puzzles, because they're like 3 different types of cut that I have experienced so far. And honestly, what really makes me happy is seeing how the new puzzles, like the new cut, is so much better than like the ancient cut. And that's something I really like to see. That's why I was so disappointed with Educa, because you would think that the cut is keep gonna improving, and it's just like the old puzzle had so much better cut than the new ones. That really disappointed me. So yeah, with Ravensburger we basically came to the end of all of the puzzle brands from this year. I've got quite a few more brands in my collection that I've never done. Like, I've got Enjoy Puzzle, I've got Ibu, I've got, I think it was Lawrence King, there is Lamunda. There is quite a few more brands that I haven't touched yet, but that's because it was just crazy busy with, you know, moving and the worlds and all of that. So I'm just hoping to try as many as I can, so next year when we get to another puzzle brand review, you can basically see all the, you know, pros and cons for each brand. And as promised, I'm showing you all the brands that I still have as part of my collection, and you can see them side by side. I decided to show you the top and the bottom so you can see the cut and the prints and everything. So that's basically it for this year. It's the last time I'm seeing you. The next time I'm gonna see you is gonna be 2024. So I'm gonna wish you happy holidays now. You know, spend some time with your family, enjoy your time off work. I hope you have some. And wishing you happy new year, and I'll see you next time. And I'll see you next year actually. Okay, bye.